Hi,
Hi,
Wapples.
Wapples.
So this is a Kirkland wine session 2.
Session 2.
Yeah, are you ready?
You asked me if I'm ready to taste wine?
Yeah.
If the Pope's a Catholic, I'm ready to taste wine. Does the wild bear shit in the woods? Am I ready to taste wine?
All right. So today we are going to taste 9 different wines. It's an odd number. Yeah. So 5 of them are Kirkland and 4 of them are from different wineries.
Same as last time.
Yeah, same as last.
Same, more or less the same price point, more or less the same appellation if possible, same vintage if possible, same blend or grape varieties.
Same blend or grape varieties and same appellation, but a different price points.
Oh, different price points.
Yeah,
Okay.
because the Kirkland wines are the most inexpensive ones. They can be same vintages or different vintages.
But you tried to get the same.
I didn't have many choices.
Okay.
The first 2 wines are sparkling wines.
Yeah! I love sparkling wines.
I know. I cannot guarantee the quality.
If it's good, I'll tell you it's good.
If
And
it
if
is
it's
bad?
not good, I'll lambaste you for wasting my time.
So
And
scary.
the Wapples time too.
Yeah, that is true.
No, actually we have to show you what's not good.
And Wapples love to watch you taste bad wines. So
That's cruel and unusual punishment.
okay, let's start.
Let's do it.
I know the identities of wine number 1 to 5.
Okay. There are Kirkland and non-Kirkland wines.
Yeah.
And they may be in any order. But
The reason why I know the identities of the first and
you
the
cheated.
second. No, I didn't cheat.
Oh, okay.
Once I grabbed the bottle,
Ah.
I just recognized.
You see one of the secrets when you know all about this stuff? You don't have to open the bottle, you don't have to see the color, you don't have to know anything, you just feel the bottle and say, Riesling. I should have brought flutes.
Think so?
It's okay. When you do these official blind tastings, you don't do it in flutes.
No.
For sparkling wine, I absolutely prefer flutes, but
We're gonna use flutes for our dinner today. Actually, I planned another tasting for today, but I asked you what we were gonna eat.
and I told you.
Yeah, and that was the reason why I changed the theme to this
Okay,
one, because
okay.
I would like to enjoy some of these if they're okay with you.
And that's fine, I've got plenty wine too, as you probably can imagine.
No doubt.
But I have to decide is which is better of these two.
You always say they're not easy, and you know what they are.
Not this time. An interesting thing for me to be tasting sparkling wine out of such big glasses, because it does affect the character. When I first smelled the first one, it smelled so sweet almost, and I looked at it, I thought Prosecco. But then, when I came back to it, I smelled some breadiness, which takes me to champagne. Second one confirms it.
Why does it confirm it?
It's got that slightly yeasty, like warm bread character that champagne has, that Bordeaux has. This one could have been fermented in oak. So it's 2 wines here, obviously. Champagne. This one much better.
I agree.
The second one
Yeah.
than the first one. And so I presume that the first one is Kirkland trying to hit a price point which is around about $20.
Wow!
And then the second one is more expensive, well-known brand name.
Great beginning, great start,
Really?
Peter. Yeah.
All right.
Because I know the identities
Okay.
of the first one and the second one. The first one is Kirkland Champagne,
Okay,
which costs $20 exactly.
okay.
And just in case, I checked the bottle, but the bottle is much better than the second one. So once I grab it, I know the
Is
identity.
it the Kirkland?
Yeah. So this is Kirkland Champagne.
Look, it's a credible wine for sure at $20.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to buy champagne at $20. In fact, it's not something I would like to do. That's the hardest of all, is to find a bottle of champagne at $20 that's worth drinking. And that's not bad at all.
It's not bad at
It's
all.
not that bad at all. Honestly, in fact, it's not bad. I mean, we could drink this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's very
Yeah.
toasty too.
they're very toasty. And the second one is good.
Yeah.
This is a good one.
Yeah, I like the second one.
It's still in my mind an entry-level non-vintage champagne because I can feel the dosage is quite high.
But the acidity is nice.
Yeah.
It's leaner.
Yeah, it's leaner, it's racier than the first one.
Yeah. So the second one, how much it would cost, do you think?
36.
36? So $30.
$30.
Good price. It's a Palmer Bruy Réserve.
Nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Nice. The second wine tastes fresher, leaner, racier. It's more of all the things we like in Champagne. More brioche, more warm bread, yeasty. It's got a more persistent mousse. It's just all around a higher quality wine. But remember, it's 50% more.
Yeah.
And I think then for $20, it's not bad. At least for $20, you're getting real champagne. You know, you're not getting something that's calling itself champagne that's basically should never have been bottled, etc., etc. It's real champagne, but working at a very tight price point. You pay more, you get something better. So you pay more here, 50% more, you get something better. It's more of the things we like, the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
It's more persistent length, it's racier, it's leaner, it's tighter and more focused.
And
it's
that's
still not expensive.
No, $30 for a bottle of champagne is not expensive at all. Because it is nice, I'm gonna keep the bottle in the fridge for today's dinner.
Okay. We have plenty of wine for tonight. Okay, the second two, much more difficult. Very, very difficult for me.
Number 3 and number 4.
Okay, these are very, very white. A little bit of green. So you start to look at what possible grape varieties can they be. You know, just on color alone, it's all the very white grape varieties. The most obvious ones are Sauvignon Blanc, Chenin Blanc, Riesling. But then, you know, you got to go out there. There's Albarino, there's Assyrtiko, there's all those hot grape varieties from Sicily, and there's Roll and Vermentino and those kind of things. And in Italy, there's various other things. So there's so many grape varieties that could be, but it probably, just on the color alone, precludes things like Pinot Grigio, Gewürztraminer, things that have definite color. So coming to that, I then say, okay, well, the question is, New World or Old World? Or are there any other characteristics? What struck me on these wines is there's a slight muscaty character to them.
To both of them?
To both of them.
All
a
right.
slight muscaty character. No, but when I say muscaty, very, very slight. So it's more like an elevated sense of fruit than it is a very grapey characteristic. So it's not muscat, it's not Gewürztraminer, it's not Zibibo, you know. It now starts to play into things like the apricots of Albarino. Viognier. You know, you're talking in that sort of thing. Light in color, very faintly sort of peachy or apricot-y. I look for Chenin, but there's none of the Chenin character that I'm used to. European Chenin is like wet wool when you're drying a sweater on paper. South African Chenin is guavas. I didn't get it. Okay. So I'm getting rid of Chenin. It does not gasoline, so it's not petrol, it's not Riesling.
Wet wool doesn't sound pleasant.
If you've ever smelled, I don't know what they did in Korea, but I remember when my mother used to wash our sweaters by hand and she would lay them on pieces of paper to dry. That wet wool character is absolutely Loire Chenin Blanc.
I see.
Yeah. So I didn't pick it up here. So for me then, I'm starting to get rid of everything here. And I say, okay then, what about some of those beautiful grape varieties, but from very warm places?
So does this feel warm?
So that's the point. So from the very warm places like Sicily, Inzolia, Catarato, you know, all of those, Grillo or Vermentino, which is usually grown in warm places, or Roll in Provence, which is Vermentino. And I'm saying Greece, Assyrtiko. And I'm saying these are all grape varieties that do extremely well in warm climates, but I'm not picking up the warm climate here. I'm not picking up elevated levels of alcohol. You know, am I looking at something from Spain like White Rioja?
You are traveling
I'm traveling all over the world because this was not easy. Very, very, very difficult.
Only for 5 minutes.
Right. I'm looking for all sorts of things here. You know, Pinot Blanc, no. So they're good, but they're not great.
Okay, then shall we check?
Sure.
Number 3, it's Kirkland, Sonoma County Chardonnay. You look upset.
I should be able to tell Chardonnay. I ruled out Chardonnay. I didn't even look for Chardonnay. I thought we'd had Chardonnay last week, we didn't?
Yeah, it was from a Burgundy.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I bought almost every bottle that I could find as Kirkland from this Costco.
Okay. So I'd ruled out Chardonnay. I didn't even think through the Chardonnay. To be quite honest, it was a bad mistake on my part because now that I know it's Chardonnay, it's Chardonnay.
So this Kirkland, Sonoma County Chardonnay, it's $7. And the fourth one, it's Martin Ray Chardonnay Sonoma Coast 2018, and it's $12.5.
So this is a case for me of we want wine as cheap as possible, but not cheaper. And both these wines are cheaper than possible. Now, I don't want that to sound to the Wapples like I'm trying to make excuses for not having picked out that it was Chardonnay. That was a mistake. If they would have made California Chardonnay, so they would have spent less on the grapes, they could have made a better wine. But because they insisted on Sonoma, and in that case Sonoma Coast, I mean most Sonoma Coast Chardonnay is selling for north of 25. To do Sonoma Coast Chardonnay for $12 is...
I see. So even though they are pretty cheap, you wouldn't recommend them?
No, I'm just saying you'll get better value and more authentic Chardonnay pleasure, I believe, from Chile, from the Casablanca, from the cooler parts of Chile for that same kind of money.
All right.
Things should be made as cheap as possible, but not cheaper.
So are we good to move on?
Absolutely. I did say to myself, these can't be Chardonnay because we had Chardonnay last week. I should have said to you, could we have a repeat of the grape varieties that we had last week?
Yep. We can repeat.
Okay.
이럴 땐 이 와인 네이버 밴드로 놀러 오시면 와인을 잘 몰라도 편하고 싸게 사실 수 있도록 제가 많이 도와드립니다. 다들 만족하시고 좋아하시더라고요.